Is Brazil secretly the manga GOAT? We all know Brazil from hits like Brazil Mentioned, Come to Brazil, and Two Girls, One Cup. But did you know that Brazil has the greatest population of Japanese descendants outside of Japan? Hi, I'm Abby Kadabura, a Brazilian content creator, and welcome to Brazil's biggest hidden gem, Monica's Gang. In 1959, Maurício de Souza started making a comic strip that would soon become Brazil's Disney, and even later become a best-selling manga. But how did a Brazilian children's comic become an internationally recognized manga? Let me explain. It started in 1959 when Maurício de Souza quit his job as a crime journalist to make comics. He'd always been a wacky guy. He went to work in an American detective's cape. But in the early 60s, he developed the identity of Monica's Gang, which was a story about four kids, Monica, Jimmy Five or Cebolinha, and their gluttonous and dirty friends, Maggie or Magali, and Smudge or Cascão. And they were mostly based on his children. He had a daughter actually named Monica who had big bunny teeth and was very assertive, and another daughter named Magali who ate a lot as a baby, and so on and so forth. And while Monica's Gang dominated Brazil, having one of the most popular ramen brands, tomato sauce brands, and even a park, Maurício de Souza realized that they weren't meeting everyone's expectations. As kids grew up, they stopped reading Monica's Gang and started reading manga. But Maurício was a manga fan himself, so he kinda got it. After all, starting in 1974, he had one of his characters featured in Ichigo Shimbun, a Japanese Sanrio-owned children's magazine, so he understood the appeal of Japanese art and animation. Maurício also grew up in a predominantly Japanese school, and his wife was Japanese, so he understood that the slice-of-life, episodic style of Monica's Gang couldn't compete with the romance, adventure, and overall variety of manga. Then his wife, Alice, put together a test version of Monica's Adventures, a manga-style version of Monica's Gang where the kids were now teenagers and they faced shonen-style monsters and romance like in shoujos. But their publisher at the time, Globo, didn't like the idea of changing Monica's Gang, so Maurício and Alice ended up not doing it. But one day, Maurício was offering his son Monica's Gang and Naruto. And his son ended up choosing Monica's Gang, but he could tell that he preferred Naruto. His son then admitted that he didn't want to hurt his dad's feelings, but in reality, he just felt too old for Monica's Gang. And that's when Maurício realized that Monica's Adventures just had to come out. So in August of 2008, almost 50 years after the first Monica's Gang, Monica's Adventures was born. It very quickly became more popular than Marvel or DC among Brazilian teenagers, though Naruto was still on top. I personally grew up reading Monica's Gang, and after I was a little bit older, a while after 2008, I started reading Monica's Adventures. And they had awesome arcs. They had World of Anime Craft, which was an online RPG parody. They also had a Death Note parody, and even more romantic editions. Monica's Adventures then got big enough that it got translated to Japanese, and it garnered a good following, which snowballed. They were featured in a Japanese morning show alongside Pikachu and Doraemon, and they also got big enough that they had a collab with the iconic Naomi Watanabe. And in one of his trips to Japan, Maurício de Souza became friends with the mangaka of Astroboy, Osamu Tezuka. And they became so close, they started writing a children's movie together. Unfortunately, throughout the process, Osamu Tezuka passed away, and only 20 years later was Maurício de Souza able to finish their project. Tezuka spoke to Maurício only days before he passed away, but he didn't want to crush their dreams, so he never told him about his diagnosis. But Maurício was able to finish their project 20 years later with some changes, but it became Astroboy's first international collaboration. The Monica's Gang cinematic universe is one of the backbones of Brazilian culture, impacting Brazilian kids not only in Brazil but worldwide. Was it particularly influential outside of Brazil? Probably not, but it really has become Brazil's Disney. If you made it this far, let me know what you think about Monica's Gang and tell me about a hidden gem from your country. See you next time.